And when you're doing those two things, it makes a massive difference. I would almost say it's hard to fail your retake if you are literally doing both of those things consistently every day. All right, let's talk about how to do a restudy. I've got 3 tips on how to do a very effective restudy, and I have a lot of emails to back this up. Somebody asked me, how do I do a restudy? How do I study for a retake? I essentially send them these 3 tips I'm about to go through, and it's very simple, but it works because you're just going to be focused on, again, what you are actually going to be doing on test day. So the first tip, when you go back to do a restudy, you do not want to kind of start from the beginning. You basically want to just go back to sets of 30 questions. And that is going to be the main basis. That's going to be the foundation of your daily study sessions. So sets of 30 MCQs, times 2, plus a set of 30 MCQs, do that twice, plus a set of 5 to 7 practice sims, okay? So if you have 2 hours, let's say, for your main study session in the morning, you sit down, you do 2 sets of 30 multiple choice questions. You want these to be cumulative. Now, some people really want to focus on their weak areas, whatever their review course is telling them, and you can just sort questions by I think Becker calls it personalized review or something. If you really want to do that, then just split this up. Do 1 set of your personalized questions, meaning the stuff that they're handing you saying this is what you're weakest on, but still do the other set from all areas. Because constant repeat coverage of all topics is what's going to get you the passing score. It might make intuitive sense to go back and just really spend a bunch of time on your weak areas, but you should not neglect the idea of constant repeat coverage of everything. So, 2 sets of 30 MCQs, followed by a set of 5 to 7 practice sims. Now, when you do these practice sims and you generate these in your review course, you just want to go through and you only even want to pay attention to the ones that are hard for you or challenging for you. And when you do the sim, you look at it, you kind of read through, get an idea of what it's asking you, and look at if it's a document review simulation with all the little exhibits. You look through those, just get an idea of, okay, what is this about? And then you start filling it out. As soon as you get stuck, because you do not want to spend 20 minutes just staring at this. As soon as you get stuck, submit it. Okay? Submit it. See what the solution is. Then, wherever you got stuck, you'll have kind of a aha moment. You'll see, okay, that's where I got stuck. That's how I need to do it. Then you start it over. And then you keep filling it out. Keep filling out the sim. Get as far as you can go. That's essentially how you work through sims. And again, you're trying to find ones that are hard for you, that are difficult for you, that maybe you haven't seen before, or it's on a topic that it's hard for you to just understand it generally. That's how you do the practice sims effectively or efficiently. Through this whole process, this is key.
Flashcards.
Flashcards that you write in your own words. Now, if you are a podcast listener, you've heard me discuss this with different people on the podcast. It does not necessarily have to be flashcards per se. It could be traditional notes. Another thing a lot of people do is they print out our review notes. They print out the SuperfastCPA review notes, and in the corresponding section, they just kind of write their own discoveries in their own words. But the key idea here is that when you are reviewing when you're reviewing your sets of 30 and your practice sims, when you come across questions, this is afterwards, obviously, after you've submitted the set of 30 and you're looking through the solutions, if it's something that you've missed multiple times, it's just hard for you to remember, just the key idea is stuff that's difficult for you. You take a second and you write yourself out a flashcard, you sit there and you explain it back to yourself out loud until it clicks, and at least momentarily you understand it, whatever explanation you came up with, and you write that down. You write that explanation down that's in your own words. Again, that can be on notes or flashcards. I always preferred flashcards. Digital decks, because then it's just easy, they're with you. It's another thing you can do mini sessions with, and it's just really easy to do them at night. They're just always with you. But again, on the podcast, people talk about, people do it in Excel. They take notes in Excel, on paper, in a notebook. They do the paper physical flashcards, whatever your personal preference is. But the key idea is that you are taking things from these explanations on stuff you keep missing, and you're putting it in your own words. That's the key point. Those two things together. Now the third thing is, of course, mini sessions. So if you're a SuperfastCPA customer, you know what that is. Mini sessions is simply the idea that you study from your phone. Like this makes up your main study session each day. This right here, these two things, when you can sit in front of your review course, whether that's 2 hours or 4 hours or 6 hours, whatever that is. But then you also have the rest of your day, and you always have your phone. You're always looking at your phone, doing other stuff. While you're trying to pass your CPA exams, you read review notes or take quizzes whenever you would normally pull out your phone and look at social media or other just time waster stuff. So I cannot emphasize enough how much of an effect or how well doing this ties together what you're learning in your main study sessions. It just makes everything come together. And again, if you're a podcast listener, obviously we do interviews with people that have passed their CPA exams and they were kind of using our study strategies. So all those people will say over and over, if you listen to the different episodes, how helpful or how big of a difference doing mini sessions made. And you know, I think our study tools are great. I think we created them in the most optimal way by focusing strictly on exam questions. But I don't even necessarily think that it's about that. It's about consistently recalling this information as you go throughout your day, instead of just limiting your CPA study to one big session each day. So it's got to be both. It's got to be your main study session, and it's got to be the mini sessions in conjunction. And when you're doing those two things, it makes a massive difference. I would almost say it's hard to fail your retake if you are literally doing both of those things consistently every day. Now, when you use the study tools, so I should say this does not have to be our SuperfastCPA study tools. I mean, it doesn't have to be. Your review course obviously comes with an app. Pretty much every review course comes with an app. So you can use those. But what most people figure out, your review course app includes full strength questions. There's also a million options to just get into whatever the little tool is that you're wanting to use. So you mess around with that for 60 seconds or whatever, and people just behaviorally, they get used to not actually using it in these little 3 to 5 minute chunks. That's why our app and our study tools, it's like literally 2 taps at the most, and you're either reading the review notes or you're listening to audios or you're taking a quiz, so that it's functional, that you will actually end up using it. It's actually feasible to use it in these little 3 to 5 minute chunks. So when you're using our study tools, you simply use them. This is the one area I'm always talking about, being strategic when you study. You do not need to be strategic when you use our study tools. All you've got to do is use them. So when you read the review notes, read a few pages, however long you have, 3 minutes, 5 minutes, and the next time you come back to it, just keep going. Work through the review notes all the way through, over and over and over and over. Same thing with the audios. And then the quizzes are that way by default because it's 5 questions. You don't get to choose the topic. And again, people email me about that sometimes, saying, why can't I choose specific topics? Well, when you are just trying to take a quiz in line at the grocery store really quick, I know better than you. That's not what you want in a mobile study supplement. You pull it out, you press one button, you're taking a quiz. And it's exercise for your brain, pulling from all the topics all across the board on whatever section you're studying for. Just trust me, do these 3 things and you will pass your retake. And this is very, very similar to our general study approach that you'd learn in the pro course. Obviously, the only thing missing is the kind of the planting the seeds approach because you're going through new material. Anyways, for a retake, this is what you do. 30 MCQs times 2, 5 to 7 practice sims. That's one block. Call it a block. That should take you roughly 2 hours. What that does is it prepares you for what you'll actually be doing on test day. You just get good at answering questions when this is the basis of how you study each day. Instead of restarting and rewatching video lectures over and over, and maybe 5% of that entire video is actually making it into your brain, this is directly applicable because it replicates exactly what you're going to be doing on test day. So spend 80 to 90% of your study time doing this. Then you review the sets of MCQs and sims, stuff that you repeatedly miss or it's hard for you to remember or understand. You make flashcards in your own words. And then the easy part is, all throughout your day, instead of goofing around on social media or listening to podcasts for just a few months until you pass, you replace all that as much as you can with reading review notes, taking quizzes on the app, and then when it makes sense, you listen to the audios. That's all you got to do. And then email me when you pass.